You have a right to film in public places, public, and people in public places. It doesn't matter if they're clients, customers, or whatever you want to call them, because I've heard, in some of the US offices, they're clients and they're whatever, and same thing in Canada. They have no expectation of privacy. None. If you're in the office and you turn around and there are counters and people behind it, it's just the way it is. You're in a public place and you can film anything that's visible from a public area. That's in the States. And from what I gather, and I ask you to check it out yourself, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and it says the same thing. You can go into a public place in Canada and film with no expectation of privacy. You can't be stopped, especially if you're a press. Like, I've been making videos for a long time, including political ones and even some investigative stuff. So you have no expectations of privacy. That's number one. Now, the other thing is, under our Charter of Rights, that's even reaffirmed and made stronger. So, like I said, look it up yourself. But what I'm getting to is that if you go into a public area, in a police station, in a library, in a health department, in City Hall, I don't know if I said library yet, anything that's public, anything that's open to the public, you are allowed to record in those settings. And you can't or shouldn't be stopped. Now, Long Island audit, Sean, is stopped in a lot of places by the cops who aren't aware of the Constitution and his rights. But that is being rectified because he is teaching people about what it is. And now, before I go any further, I got to tell you what my take on this is. A lot of individual citizens believe that they have a right to privacy from you. If you're going to film them, or if I'm going to film them, I go into City Hall and I start filming and they think they have a right to privacy. No. It doesn't work that way. But let's say if enough people started to complain about being filmed and photographed in the public, and I don't mean focusing in on one individual, unless somebody comes up to you and engages you in a conversation. So if somebody engages you, you can turn and your camera goes on them. It's just the way it goes. So they have no expectation of privacy. But if enough people were to complain for their privacy rights, you know what would happen? They would make individuals not allowed to photograph. I didn't say it right, but you would lose your rights. But look at all the places that have security cameras, because we are in such danger everywhere. They have security cameras. So imagine a time when a private individual isn't allowed to film in the public, government, whatever.
Us filming, someone filming us. That's what it's down to. Training.
We'd also like to recommend that all police cruisers are outfitted with dash cams so that all incidences can be caught on camera, and all officers should be outfitted with wireless microphones when they're approaching situations involving citizens of Canada, whether it be for an everyday situation or if they're going to arrest someone, it should be public knowledge, and those tapes should be submitted immediately to their superiors and not mysteriously misplaced or destroyed. Would you agree with that?
Looks like up there. How do you use it as a training video?
You looking for a stapler?
They thought he was going to talk. We have to pay for their investigation. And they messed up. They were wrong.
In the public. But all those cameras still stay up. You know, the little black balls that are up in banks. And by the way, banks, private institutions. Some private institutions have no expectation of privacy for the simple reason that they are open to the public. Say, I use an example as a shopping center, Orchard Park. Walk in there with a camera, walk down the center of the mall, walk around. You can turn, you can film into a store from there. It's a public place. And they can't stop you, or they will be infringing on your Charter of Rights and Freedom. Wow! I really wish I had known that years ago, because up until starting to watch this and starting to learn about what the law really is, I've been under the impression that if somebody puts out a sign that says no filming in here, I'll give you a big example. Kelowna General Hospital has all these signs all over the place, including in public areas. That's something that has to be challenged very quickly. But, you know, we have our rights, and it's really sad that so many people don't know them. It's really sad that so many people are pissed if somebody, an individual, be they, you know, identifying as press, is filming them. But at the same time, all those other, they're for security. Bullshit. Bullshit, they're for security. They're keeping an eye on people. And I don't want to live in a day when private individuals, the public, I'm part of the public, can't do that, but Big Brother is having cameras on the streets, on everywhere, filming away. By the way, another thing to think about is your rights. Look at all the doorbell cameras now. They are filming public areas. If somebody comes up to the camera, they have no expectations of privacy. They're in the public sphere and they're coming on a private area. There's all these different things, and I believe that a lot of that needs to be challenged. I have one more thing to say in conclusion is, I wish the friggin' school system, instead of teaching kids that, well, I know you were born a boy, but now if you don't want to be, you can become a girl. You know, it's up to you. Choose your sex. And young, it doesn't matter. Or all the other BS they're teaching kids, instead of teaching young people, I would say even in grade 6, 7, 8, about their rights, because people get their rights abused all the time. And kids, imagine if kids know what their rights are, what their freedoms are. They're not going to teach that to kids. Damn them. You know, they don't have to know that. They have to know that, you know, you have to go to a police officer, identify. No, you don't have to identify yourself even in Canada. If there is no reason to suspect you have committed a crime, you do not have to identify yourself. Now, if there's a crime involved, you know, maybe somebody says you're trespassing, but if you're in a public place, you're not trespassing. So you don't have to identify yourself for the police. I got all that stuff I'm posting up in this video at different places, but check it out. Take a look at your constitutional rights, and you can't interfere with police doing their job. But let's say they're doing something and you want to film from the other side. You're not interfering with their job. You can film everything. And that's how we get these great videos taken by cell phones of abuse of power. But I would say that, in my opinion, the huge percentage of the police are not an issue. Not an issue. They're not the jerks. Pardon me, a little burpee.
All right, guys, so first things first, names and badge numbers.
I give you my ID.
I'm just kidding. I already have the sign-in sheet, so.
Sean does not run his channel that way. Sean is cordial, polite, addresses everybody by their rank. But and even with that, what he has exposed from bad behavior and police really opened my eyes.
So the people that subscribe to my channel, because I got to give them all the credit, because without them I wouldn't do what I do. You know, they have my back. They write emails. They make phone calls. They, you know, they believe in me. They believe in the United States Constitution. They believe in what I'm doing, and they give me strength. I've never seen a First Amendment auditor stand in the police department in a restricted area like this.
Without handcuffs on.
Exactly, without handcuffs on.
Ready? So the information in this presentation is not legal advice and is not intended to be legal advice. It is intended to provide a general legal information. It does not cover all issues related to the topics discussed. The specific facts that apply to your matter may make the outcome different than you might anticipate based on the material presented. Please consult with your attorney and with regard to specific issues. In addition to that, everything stated in this presentation is the opinion of the person speaking. And I do not speak to cops without my attorney present. So Ursula Shugart is here, Prosecutor Shugart. And then the strange man over there against the wall, his name is Sean Paul Reyes. Sean Paul Reyes runs a YouTube channel, Long Island Audit. You guys familiar with First Amendment audits? How many subscribers?
350,000 total.
Nice job. So this is kind of what led us to here a little bit was on February 2nd, Sergeant Pagano is running traffic where he's got a roadblock at North Main and Myron because when that pole got sheared downtown. And I'm off duty and I'm passenger in a vehicle and I see him, so I pull out my phone and I start yelling, "Photography's not a crime." 9 days later, Long Island Audit shows up in my Google feed. That's not a coincidence, I'm sure. So, First Amendment audits involves a photographer filming from public space. It is often categorized by its practitioners, known as auditors, as activism and citizen journalism that tests the constitutional rights, in particular to the right to photograph and video record in public space. Now, the past experience that I had, from like 10 years ago, First Amendment auditors were antagonistic to police. They would curse at you, try to provoke an emotional response so that you would fail. Sean does not run his channel that way. Sean is cordial, polite, addresses everybody by their rank. But even with that, what he has exposed from bad behavior and police really opened my eyes, because I only knew what I get to experience with you guys, and we don't have those issues like what he's exposing, but I think it's important that we all see it, and that we also understand from his personal experience why he does it and how that affects him. So a good cop's worst enemy is a bad cop.
We're gonna arrest you for giving certification because I cannot let you walk away from me.
You'll be making a very
a suspicious act of videotaping military installations.
What is the crime?
And you have no legitimate reason to be here.
I don't need a legitimate reason to be in public places. You need to learn the law,
The
sir.
crime is obstructing government administration.
No,
Mr. He's
do
not
it.
providing.
You're gonna get fired, sir.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
You giving me a different.
Okay.
Your obligation,
No.
obligation.
Your obligation is to uphold the Constitution, sir. You're gonna get a complaint, sir.
After left.
You can't. Learn the law. Learn the law. No, why would you say that? Well, I have a history with that flag that you're wearing on your mask, and it's not too good of a history, but I'm not going to judge you based off of that flag. Because it sets you apart from, your job is to protect and serve the public. Your job is not to band together with your buddies and make a desecration of the flag, and, you know, that's no different than a gang flag. Reasonable, articulable. Did you learn that in training, or no? Okay. So reasonable, you don't use that over here?
We don't use that phrase.
I mean, every police, reasonable, articulable suspicion.
I never heard those two words used together.
Wow, that's kind of scary. No,
I'm just trying to tell you, bro.
I don't think
you
that's
to
it.
walk over here.
Yeah.
That's it. You're not allowed to be over here.
Yeah, no, I understand. But what I'm telling you is you can't just make an area restricted. It has to be restricted already. This is not a restricted area
No,
here.
you're sadly mistaken, pal.
Okay.
You're sadly mistaken.
Okay, why don't we get a supervisor out here?
Why don't we walk over here where you're allowed to be?
I'm
we can
gonna-
have an issue.
Oh, what's the issue? Is that a threat?
No.
Reasonable, articulable suspicion. You said you didn't know what that was.
No. As far as how we conduct business, we don't conduct business.
Well, then I'm gonna teach you something. In order to detain somebody, you need reasonable, articulable suspicion. That's not speaking the way I do.
Like you just said, everybody's different.
So
right?
when you detain somebody, what's your burden of proof? What do you have? What do you do? You just go to random people and say you're detained?
You don't get to sit here and argue, okay? You guys are all set. All right. You guys are
So you're gonna stand here with your cell phone?
I thought you were busy. I thought you were
I
busy
am.
man.
I am busy.
So you should get to work
I should get to work, is that what you're telling
if
me?
you're busy. His body camera's on. His body camera's on. Stop. You guys' body camera's on. Stop.
I don't care, right? This is private property, okay?
I'm not doing anything.
You're not going to videotape me.
I'll get out of it. I'll get
But
out
I'm
of
gonna
it.
tell you what right now, I'm not the one, okay? I gave you the information you needed, and I gave you your outlet. So you were giving your outlet. No, you wanted to stand there and hold your cell phone in my face is what you wanted to do. Yes, you do. Take your cell phone and go and make your complaint, okay? Okay.
Can I grab my cell
Stay right
phone?
here. I'll get it for you. Where's your card? Where's your card? Where's your card?
That's
I'm gonna go, man.
We're
Go.
in.
I know, but where's your
I didn't
card?
know my car then. You were about to arrest me, man, for real?
I know.
Can I get your names and badge numbers?
Sure, can I have your ID, please?
No, you can't.
Excuse me.
Have you not heard that before? Tibbets.
Officer
Tibbets. They're a little bit hostile. I can see the tyrant in you, Utter. You're a real tyrant. I can see it in your eyes.
In law enforcement experience,
Yeah.
I'm still here, but I'm a tyrant.
You are.
Because if I was a tyrant, I'd be long gone.
This certainly is an all fucking around. Absolutely. And it's one year ago, that motherfucker was dead. Easy fucker, just keep it. This is not gonna end well, you know.
Okay, we'll see. We will
I'm
see.
telling you.
New tonight, a Danbury police officer has been suspended for 8 days. Ken Utter was caught on body camera video making offensive statements to a man filming at a public library. The News Times reports Utter told Sean Paul Reyes he would have been dead 20 years ago. Utter has to go through remedial training and additional training on body cameras. 3 other officers also reportedly violating department policy.
We dealt with the library yesterday, and they escorted him out of the library, which they technically really shouldn't have done, but, you know what I mean? That's a problem with the kid, he doesn't cause a problem.
Why be so hostile with him?
He's not, that's the thing, he's not hostile, he's just difficult to do. He doesn't raise his voice, he's a polite kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So he's not gonna come in here and start kicking shit around, which I wish he did, because then we'd lock him up.
Right,
But he
yeah.
doesn't do that.
Officer Mike Farrell moved in.
No, turn around, your hands behind your back.
So you committed the crime today, and I go away and tell us. Isn't that just?
Any of that reasonable? Think 8 days was enough for what Utter said, you'd be dead 20 years ago? Yes? No?
That should be a rough career ending.
Yeah. Yeah, it's terrible. The whole channel he's got good interactions too. He's not just one-sided. He puts good ones up. But the problem is that they're rare. This is commonplace where these cops are acting this way, making us look bad. And I think that their conduct is partly why good cops get hurt. And seeing all that, and I'm not blind that law enforcement is not perfect. They're not. They make mistakes, sometimes by accident, sometimes on purpose. But this is sheer competence and willful unwanted. And it's making us all look bad. And it moved me to reach out to him, see if he would come speak to us. And then this department, the men and women of this department, will lead the rest of them by example. The whole country. But I think we can do that. So that's kind of why we're here today. To examine this and show others.
We're going to arrest you. We can't present.
So a tyrant, a cruel and oppressive ruler, tyranny, cruel, unreasonable, or arbitrary use of power or control. We just saw that in the video, right? I mean, they define themselves. I didn't. So how a revised code defines us at this department is a member of an organized police department of any municipal corporation. That's us. And they specifically call us a peace officer. We use peace officer, law enforcement officer, police officer, cop, all interchangeably. But I think what's important to notice is that they call us a peace officer, which would imply de-escalation, right?